Welcome to TacosTheGeeks.com. Justin here, back with more video game reviews, and today we are going to be reviewing The Legend of Heroes Trails into Reverie. This is available for your PlayStation, Xbox, PC, and Nintendo Switch. All footage that you see here is recorded directly from my Nintendo Switch Lite. As always, we give you a brief synopsis of the game, so here we go. What destinies await these three faithful figures? Using the Trails to Walk system to switch between Rean, Lloyd, and the mass figure C, and determine the fates of key characters and location within Zemuria. Dive into the refined tactical combat with new features such as United Front and discover new allies and challenges within the halls of the True Reverie Corridor. This game, and as we're going to talk about the story, I just have to say this will be spoiler free. I'm not going to dive too much into the story anyway. Because number one, you really had to kind of play the entire franchise to really appreciate what they were able to do with this franchise. It's been phenomenal. Not to only to start from their first franchise, Trails of the Sky, all the way to the Trails of Zero and Azure, to the Cold Steel series, to really culmination to this. It is amazing what they were able to do. Not only keeping all these characters and keeping everybody in character, keeping everybody dynamic and not as static as the characters. Everybody grows, everybody changes, things change, and it's so refreshing to see an RPG franchise that is really one point self-contained with different arcs but still interconnected. You get to see the growth of all these characters, and they do a great job of telling this story, a very high stakes and very emotional story. And I thought they did a very good job in terms of that. I'm not going to dive too deep into it. I will just say this: for those who are thinking about playing this franchise, you have to start from the beginning, but they do offer us newcomers out there who have never played this series. I mean, I have, but people who have never played this series, you do get a glossary and an overview of all the events that's leading up to this particular game. So get your reading ready, because there's a whole lot of lore, and that's all I'm going to say about the story. Now, let's talk a little bit about that gameplay and the graphics. Now, this is a turn-based RPG, and to me, it still has one of the best turn-based systems here. What I really loved about the Trail series was the fact that you really get to be very strategic with your turn-based. You have your various options that you can do during battle. You have your arts, which are obviously your magic attacks. You have your crafts, which is kind of like, for those who play Final Fantasy VII, think of your S-craft as your limit ability. You got your meter, but they also do introduce new attack forms, which is called the United Front, where everybody, once your meter is out, everybody, by hitting the shoulder button on, depending on what system you're playing on, you're able to combine into one giant attack where everybody attacks at once, and it is powerful. I really do love the system here. It's always been a blast with the combat system here. Very easy to pick up, but it's also does something that you're able to just kind of pick up and play and strategize. Of course, certain enemies are weak against certain other stuff. You also have the ability to speed up your battles, which is high speed mode. For those who like to do a lot of grinding and to level up, high speed mode is going to be your best friend, because you can do as much battles as you can in a more sped up process, especially for those speedrunners out there who just want to get through the game. High speed mode is definitely going to be your best friend. I also do like the fact, once again, that the upgraded system is still intact. I'm actually surprised that a lot of the abilities from the previous games are actually available from the beginning, which just shows you the consistency and continuity of this franchise. The ability of, say, I unlocked this in the previous game. Okay, the story is continuing, so let's keep having Lloyd do the rising sun and things of that nature, as you see here. So it's really nice to see that they're keeping it very consistent and not changing much up. It is a combination a little bit of Trails of the Zero and the Cold Steel type of gameplay. So for those who are familiar with that type of gameplay, this is going to be right at home, and you're going to have a blast playing. I've always had a blast playing the Trails series, and I'm still trying to understand why it's not really up there with the other franchises such as Final Fantasy, Tales, Kingdom Hearts, and various other franchises. But when you are wanting to just take your mind off things. Of course, there's things that you can do, some mini games in here, especially in Crossbell. You can go to their casino and you can play blackjack, you can play poker, and you can unwind and do things of that nature. Of course, you have things that you have to do, such as upgrading your arts with buying weapons and knowing which weapons to choose and which arts and courts to upgrade your stuff. As far as the graphics go from my Nintendo Switch Lite, as you can see here, high speed mode, depending on what location you're at, sometimes the frame rate does drop a bit, but it's not game breaking. But I would have to say, out of all the games of the Trail series, this one is gorgeous. It really is. They did really good on the Switch Lite. It looks great in handheld mode. Just seeing the characters, the motivations, just the expressions, everything is intact. It's exactly what you expect from a Trail series. I will say this in terms of graphics. There might be a little bit clippings from here and there, but it's not game breaking. It's not something that you're gonna notice. But I did notice a couple of graphical clippings from time to time. But it does run well with a minor drop of frame rate. So here's a little bit of sound, which is now English dub.
Over here!
Seems you're no worse for wear after all that hard work.
It's nice to see you all. But how did you know we'd be coming out here?
We were told about your investigation into the underground.
Dudley? Hell, even Murray and the commander.
Hia invited us. And you can't say no to that face.
Special on the menu.
No one is expecting a 5-course meal. But I'll be making sure that whatever you eat is at least better than one of your cigarettes.
Please don't.
Something up, Lloyd?
Oh, I'm fine. It's finally hitting me that we're home. I know it's just another day like the day before, but something about it feels so different.
It is really cool to see the Crossbell crew have English dub now. So this is like really our first time, besides a couple of appearances in Cold Steel, to really see the whole Crossbell crew in English dub. And I thought the performances was really well done. The music, once again, I know I sound like a broken record if you see my other reviews, but when it comes to music, music is epic. It fits the tone and fits scenes very, very well. Especially the battle music I really enjoy here, but the music does a really good job of really capturing those emotional beats that we're getting here, especially with the Supreme Leader showing up. So there's a lot of stuff in here that is going to move you. The voice acting at times can get a little bit melodramatic, but then again, that's a lot of JRPGs. But for the most part, it's serviceable. And I did enjoy the performances in English dub, and you can also have the option to switch to Japanese dub as well. So you do have that option. So take that as you will. And as my final thoughts, the Trails, the Legend of Heroes, the Trails series, I still believe it's one of the most underrated JRPG franchises. I think it's up there with Tales, Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, especially what they were able to do with this. This was fantastic. I'm giving this an A+. Definitely just a culmination of games into one. Think of this as your end game, your Infinity War. It is a combination of everything, and you're going to enjoy one hell of a ride, especially if you've been riding with this series since the beginning. If you haven't, you definitely have to start it from the beginning, or at least read up on it, which the option they do give you to get a little recap. But this is a phenomenal game. Definitely pick this up. This is Justin from otakusgeeks.com saying, later days, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Legends of Heroes, Trails into the Reverie gets an A+. Peace.